Hola chicos, so today we're going to talk about the Spanish you. These are going to be filling in your notes for your Unit 1B, first set of really grammar notes that we've gotten so far. So what we're going to talk about, guys, is the fact that in Spanish, unlike in English, there are 4 different words for the word you, 4 of them. So in English, we have 1. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to you, your friend, or you, a whole group of your friends, or you, an adult, or you're addressing the United Nations. You is you is you. There's nothing different. However, in Spanish, we have some differences. And so we're going to take a look at your notes here. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so you can see it better. We have this difference between singular and plural and formal and informal. So let's talk formal and informal first. So informal, we've addressed this already, is when we're talking about somebody that you know really well. I always like to say this is somebody you know well enough to call by a first name. This is first name basis. I think that's the best way to think of it. Whereas formal is somebody that you would speak to, you're showing respect. They might be your boss. They might be an older person. You're going to show respect. And oftentimes we're going to use a title. So we're talking señor, señora, señorita, a title with a last name. All right. Let's go over to our singular and plural side here. Now, singular is very easy. This is one person. It's one singular person. Whereas plural is going to be 2 plus people, 2 or more. 2 plus people. There we go. All right, cool. So singular is talking to one individual. Plural is talking to 2 people. I always like to think of plural as like the English equivalent of y'all. It's not a real word, but it works, and we like it, so we go with it. So a singular informal, let's go right here. You already know this. You're talking to one person. We did this when we learned names. We said me llamo Señora Masorti, and you was y tú. And that tú has got to have an accent mark over that you. I'm going to pull up my special keyboard here, get that accent mark on the you, because without it, it means something different. It means your. So we want it to be y tú with an accent mark. We've also done the formal. So you learned that when you were talking to me, you never said y tú. We said instead y usted. And we're going to abbreviate that capital UD period. It is typically spelled USTED. However, most people do abbreviate it. So we're going to go with what people actually do. So now let's talk plural. And this is where things get interesting because it doesn't really matter if you're being formal or informal. Plural is plural everywhere in the world, and it is considered ustedes. Only really in Spain do we fill in this box over here on the informal side. There are 2 words. There is vosotros, and it has a feminine form, vosotras. And it all depends upon whether you're talking to a group of all males or a group of all females. Now, if you're speaking mixed company, guys and girls together, anything that's masculine and feminine all in one place, that's going to be vosotros. And you could have 5,372 girls, one guy, one dude, automatically makes it masculine. But the funny thing is, in Spain, only do we differentiate between the 2. Do we have vosotros versus ustedes? Anywhere else in the world, it doesn't matter if you're speaking formally or informally. Ustedes is ustedes. It's y'all for all. And we'll talk about that a lot more in class. But this is just to get us started. Okay. Now, how that affects us is this. Now we have to understand that there are going to be different ways to ask somebody, how are you? Because the verb itself is going to change. What we're going to do here, pull up my pen. Fantastic. All right. So let's talk tú. You're asking somebody, how are you? Oftentimes, this tú, we didn't even use it. We kind of hid it. It wasn't there. Believe it or not, it was always there. We just didn't see it. And to ask somebody, how are you informally, would be como estás? Tú, adding that accent mark over the A. Same thing with formal. And what's going to happen with formal, focusing on our usted, we have to change our estás. You can't say estás. You actually have to say como está. You're going to drop that S. That we did talk about in exploratory Spanish. Here's where things get a little new for us. If you're talking to a whole group of people, hey, there's supposed to be a period on that ustedes. Let's put that in there. That would be horrific. That's a travesty. Nobody wants that to be missing. Okay, cool. So now, get my pen out again. Phenomenal. Here we go. So if I'm asking, how are y'all? And I'm being formal in Spain, I'm talking to any group of people anywhere else in the world, I am going to change estás and está to están. So you can see I added an N there. So it's really similar. It's just these little endings are going to change. And you're going to find out as we do more that the endings become a big deal in Spanish. All right, last but not least, this one. And like I said, this is only used in Spain. Now, other places used in the world, they will totally understand it. They'll know what you're saying. They'll totally get it. It's just not something they use. They'll be like, oh, you're from Spain. So doesn't matter if you're talking to all males or that group of mixed company, or you're talking to a group of all females, vosotros, or it's alternate ending vosotras. It's going to be como estáis. How are y'all? And we're being informal plural. So everywhere in the world, ustedes is recognized. In Spain, it would be considered formal. Everywhere else, it would be considered informal. Wait a second. I lie. Okay, so in Spain, ustedes would be considered formal, whereas vosotros and vosotras would be considered informal, whereas everywhere else in the world, we would not even recognize that vosotros is a thing. We wouldn't even use it. So this whole thing would disappear for us, and we would only use como estás, como está, or como están. All right, so I hope this made sense. Hopefully, we're going to talk about this more in class. Well, not hopefully, we're totally going to talk about this more in class, but this is going to make more sense the more that we practice it. So those are your notes for 1B. You have those there. All right, fantastic. Hope this helped. I'll see you guys soon. Bye. I should say adios, shouldn't I? Yeah, adios.